Hello, I am Dr. Strike the Sun, your two-time BookTube Federation champion, and I'm here to talk to you about a piece of Chinese literature, Su Tong's Raise the Red Lantern. This is a collection of 3 novellas set in 1930s China. It's historical fiction, and each story tells brutal, tragic tales. The first story, of course, is the namesake, Raise the Red Lantern. Second one, 1934 Escapes. And the third one, Opium Family. As far as the first one goes, Raise the Red Lantern, it follows a young woman whose father has committed suicide, and now she is married to be a concubine. She's mistreated, she's abused, she's suffering mentally, emotionally, physically. And we see her journey as she goes through living in this hellish experience. I would say that one thing that I don't particularly enjoy about it is that there seems to be very little empathy for the characters that are women in particular. And there is for the man who is quite lecherous. There's certainly a feeling of sympathy, but not quite empathy. A little bit different. That is my major complaint for that story. Otherwise, pretty well told, very beautiful language, and great characterization. If you've ever read something like Dream of the Red Chamber, it does have that feeling. It has that kind of quality to it. And so do the other stories. So be forewarned for these kind of Chinese storytelling tropes. As far as 1934 Escapes, it is a fictionalized version of the author remembering his family, starting with his grandmother Zhang, and her and other family members' ruin when his father was just a baby, not even a toddler, hardly even 1 year old. And that one is a little bit of a meandering mess, but I do enjoy it the most. There are some plot lines that seem to just be there, but that might just be me misunderstanding the tropes used to effectively tell the story. So I don't want to discredit it too much. Didn't quite work for me. It's just alright again. 2 alright stories. Finally, with Opium Family, this story tells all about the rise of communism and has a big issue with class, much like all the other stories do. But with the rise of communism, we see these kind of tensions roil and boil in this community in Maple Village, which the 3 stories are set in. And I actually particularly like that story, although there are moments where the storytelling is quite dry. So, I would actually not recommend this book as something that you would start with if you are getting into Chinese literature. What I would recommend, although it can be a little confusing because of some timelines, it is kind of magical realism in a sense. Red Sorghum by Mo Yan, fantastic author, absolutely brilliant, wonderful evocative imagery, and just a beautiful story, historical fiction, also set in the 1930s, 1940s, 1920s, and a little bit 1980s, during the Sino-Japanese War, the second one. Great place to start. But if you are experienced, also if you really like Rice, which he wrote, I have not read that one, but if you are experienced with Chinese literature and know the tropes and are looking for more, not a bad place to go, although my personal feeling is that it's decent.